thing. And that's why today we're going to dive into the difference between staying broke and building riches in business. A lot of entrepreneurs are working hard on the wrong thing. If you want to grow, you must identify whether your business needs more awareness, needs more leads, or more sales, and optimizing the right things at the right time. Not every business problem is a sales problem. Some businesses need more awareness, some need better lead generation, some need stronger conversion. Growth gets simpler when you actually stop guessing, identify the real bottleneck in your business, and optimize the right things. This conversation is not just a growth conversation, it is a clear conversation, and clarity changes everything. Welcome everyone to Anywhere Entrepreneur Live. We are all about the freedom entrepreneur way, the freedom to live, to work, to earn from anywhere, and knowing what to optimize in your business will determine whether you can truly scale a business that you can actually run from anywhere in the world. Our last live, we were actually in Malaysia, and we talked about the purpose to profit framework, how strangers become purchasers, then partners, and then promoters. And today, I'm actually in Singapore, tuning in from Singapore. As a matter of fact, I'm actually at Changi International Airport. That's what it's called, Changi International Airport. If you have never been to Singapore or have visited this particular airport, it is the number one airport in the world. It's like a huge mega city. It's got shopping, it's got massages, it's got food, it's got um, a whole city in here where you can actually, you got hotels, you got sleeping pods, you got amusements, you got all kinds of entertainment here for families, and people just come here and just like hang out at this airport because it's such a big, huge airport and it's got so much to do. So that's where you'll see in the background here, it's got some really cool technology stuff as well. So it's definitely a must visit, and then definitely a place to actually come check out. It's called the Changi International Airport in Singapore. So we are actually transiting from Singapore right now to Japan. My flight's actually a couple hours from now. We're going to be going to Fukuoka, Japan, and that's where I'm actually at. And then next week, when I later the next stream, I'm actually going to be streaming from Japan on the actually next topic. So headed to Japan tonight, and I wanted to share with you today that how to simplify one of the biggest areas where entrepreneurs really get stuck. Because once you understand the relationship journey, which is was last week, the next question becomes, what does your business actually need most right now? Right now, right? Does it need more awareness? Does it need more leads or more sales? That is what today is actually all about. And to make sure that you optimize the right thing. And by the end of this live, I want you to know exactly how to identify your real bottleneck, how to tell whether your business needs awareness, leads, or sales, and what to optimize next so that you stop wasting time fixing the wrong thing. Because when you know what your business actually needs, growth gets way simpler. So if you are ready to get clear on what your business really needs right now, drop clarity in the comment section. And if you are actually here live with us right now, let us know where you're actually tuning in from, just like I'm tuning in from right now live from Singapore. So now, before I actually teach you the framework, let's really talk about what most people's resistance and tension is around this particular topic. Because you see, most people do not want to diagnose the real problem. Why? Because it is easier to stay busy than to be honest. It is easier to say, I just need more traffic. I just need more followers. I just need a better funnel. I just need to post more. I just need a better offer. Sometimes you do not need more effort. What you really need is more accuracy. And that is where most people actually resist. I hope you don't start resisting after this, my friends. Really dive into what is it that you need to optimize instead of staying busy, right? Because once you identify the real bottleneck, um, you basically now stop hiding behind activity and start fixing the actual issue. That can be very, very uncomfortable, especially if you have been just, busy, right? You're working hard, and to actually step back and look at everything from a high level overview first and optimize awareness, leads, or sales, that gets a little bit uncomfortable. So if the problem is awareness, then you need to admit not enough people know you. If the problem is leads, then you need to admit your messaging or opt-in process is weak. If the problem is sales, then you need to admit people are seeing you opting in, but they're still not buying. It's all about being honest with yourself and getting clarity of where the problem actually is, the bottleneck is, and fixing that so that you're not just staying busy, 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 right? The stakes are really high, my friends. If you optimize the wrong stage, you burn time, you burn money, you burn momentum. You keep working hard, but the business does not move the way it should. So it is vital for you to get clear about what you actually need to optimize, because the entrepreneur who diagnoses accurately grows faster than the entrepreneur who stays emotionally attached to the wrong problem. Let me repeat that again. The entrepreneur who diagnoses accurately grows faster than the entrepreneur who stays emotionally attached to the wrong problem. Again, last live, we talked about why some people stay broke and while others turn relationship into riches. So if you have not watched that particular live, it's called the Purpose Profit Framework. Go watch that. We talked about the relationship journey, how people move from seeing you to knowing you to liking you to wanting you to trusting you to believing in you and ultimately to staying with you. We talked about how strangers become purchasers, then partners, and then promoters. So the last live was about the journey, but this live is about the bottleneck inside that journey. The bottleneck inside that journey. Because once you understand the stages, the next question becomes, where is your business actually getting stuck? Is it getting stuck at visibility? Is it getting stuck at interest? Is it getting stuck at conversion? That is what today is all about. So let me give you the framework for today. There are three primary growth areas you need to evaluate in your business: awareness, leads, and sales. Call them pillars. Your awareness pillar, your leads pillar, your sales pillar. The awareness pillar is essentially look at law of large numbers. This is where you have people who actually see you and know you, that you actually exist. You see people already buying. The only problem is that they don't know that you exist. The leads pillar is starting relationships and nurturing relationships. This is having enough people to actually sell to. And then the sales pillar is where you actually make offers. This is actually where you actually sell. So that's what we're going to be looking at. That is it. Simple, but very powerful, because every business bottleneck usually points back to one of these three pillars or three areas. So let's really look at awareness first. Awareness asks, do enough people know that you exist? Leads ask, are the right people raising their hand, right? Sales ask, are the right people actually buying? When you understand these three, you stop trying to fix everything and you start optimizing what matters most. So let's really dive into the very first stage. The very first stage is awareness. Awareness is actually very simple. Do enough people know that you exist? Can the right people find you, see you, hear you, discover you? Because if nobody knows you, nobody can buy from you. Again, if nobody knows you, nobody can buy from you. This is where a lot of entrepreneurs are actually stuck. They have a good offer, they have good intent. They may even have really great content, but not enough people are seeing it. So think they have most people think at this stage they have a sales problem. No, they have an awareness problem. Awareness is top of funnel. This is your top of funnel. This is visibility. This is where your business functions are things like organic content, right? Organic traffic, outreach, traffic, partnerships, JV, affiliates, referrals, speaking on virtual and in-person stages. This is optimizing for SEO or large language model to be recommended. YouTube, this is ads, this is social media. These are all traffic sources that get people to know that you actually exist. So the question here is not, are people buying? The question is, are enough people seeing me? As an example, if your content is good, but only a handful of people are seeing it, your first optimization is awareness. So that is the very first threshold that you actually need to look. So you stop observing, obsessing over sales before you have earned enough visibility, right? You cannot convert people who do not know that you actually exist. You can't sell if you aren't seen. I'll share a personal story of this. Me and my wife Phyllis have been together now 21 years. 21 years this December, and when I was 30, I got to a stage of my life where I was like, I'm done. I'm done dating. I'm done, you know, dating all these women. I'm done having different relationships. I wanted somebody serious. I wanted somebody to go to that next stage of my life with. I wanted somebody who, quite honestly, I was very proud to take back to my family, you know, to me, my parents and my mom. So I wanted to get into a serious relationship. I was done. I was done kind of dating. I was done with the revolving door, right? So it's like that. Awareness is like that. She is not going to come knocking on my door randomly, right? I have to go in proximity of her. I have to go find her. I have to do things to get myself seen by her, right? Get in proximity with her. That's exactly what I did. I was very intentional with what I actually wanted, and I knew that I needed to go out and see and meet people to find her, right? So awareness is the same thing. Your business is the same thing. Your clients are not going to come knocking on your door. They're not going to come to you naturally. They're going to come through to you through JV partnerships. Somebody's going to recommend you. You're going to run an ad so people see you. You're going to do YouTube content. You're going to stream live like this so people can actually, you build an audience, right? People know, oh, I don't know who this person is, but I like what he's sharing. I really like what Cecil's sharing about optimizing my business. So same thing, a relationship journey starts by getting in proximity with your audience. They're not clients yet, just like Phyllis was not my wife yet or my girlfriend. She was just somebody I needed to get proximity with just to give it a shot, right? To give myself and her an opportunity to enter or to start a relationship, right? So it's the same kind of concept there. So that is awareness. So does your business need more traffic? Do we need people to see and know that you actually exist? And if that is, then you optimize for awareness. Okay. So let's dive into the second stage. Second pillar is leads. Leads are what happen when awareness turns into interest. This is where people raise their hand, right? They opt in for something that you give them, like a lead magnet. They register for something like a webinar or a discovery call or strategy call. They download something like one of our ebooks, for example, or masterclass that we have running. They apply right through an application. They join something, join a community, join a top of funnel free Facebook group or school community or something like that. They book a call, right? Those are interest. That's leads. Now the relationship has started, right? Now people are not going to say yes right away, right? So it's kind of like Phyllis, like when we got proximity with each other, I'm not gonna walk up to her and say, hey, I want to marry you, right? I want to start the relationship, take her on a first date, right? And then nurturing your list, right? The lead generation lead is created, that started. Now you want to build upon the relationship, then you got to nurture the relationship, just like me taking her on first and second date, the dating stages, right? So they're no longer just viewers, they are now leads. And this is where many businesses actually get stuck. They are getting attention, but they are not getting action. People are watching, but not opting in. People are clicking, but not committing. That means that the problem is no longer awareness, the problem is interest. This is where you need to optimize the hook, the message, the call to action, the landing page, the lead magnet, the registration flow, the relevance, of your actual offer, your messaging, or your brand. Your biggest test here is that can you actually get attention and turn it into interest? Can you make the next step feel obvious? Can you communicate value clearly enough for people to actually raise their hand? Your allies, when you're optimizing this area of leads, is clarity, a strong hook, right? A specific problem that you actually solve, a clear payoff, compelling calls to action, relevant lead magnets, clean landing pages. And your enemies, if you're optimizing this area of leads, is vague messaging, weak call to actions, broad promises, confusing opt-ins, low relevance. Assuming attention automatically becomes leads. Those are your enemies. At this stage, attention is not the goal, action is, right? As an example, if your content is getting a ton of views, but nobody is opting in to your webinar or your challenge or a guide that you have or book a call, then your business does not need more awareness first. It needs better lead generation. So when I got in proximity with Phyllis, I knew she was the one, right? But again, I'm not going to walk up to her and say, hey, I want to have, 2 kids with you, which we have 2 kids now, right? Alexander and Troy. I have 2 kids with you. That would freak her out, right? So obviously, lead generation, that's your dating stage, right? That is taking them on, lead generation, generating lead is your first date. And if the first date went well, then you nurture the lead, right? Then you go on a second date and a third date, right? Things like that. So very similar concept. Me and Phyllis with several dates together before I actually made a move, before I actually made an offer, right? So that's very similar in the relationship journey of your actual audience as well. Okay, so now let's go to the third stage, which is sales. This is where interest becomes commitment. This is where leads turn into buyers, and this is where some people are finally diagnosing the right problem. If people are seeing you and they're opting in, but still not buying, then yes, this is the only time that you actually have a sales problem. If you have people knowing that you exist and it ends up being where you have enough people to sell to and they're not buying, then you're optimizing this area. How do you convert more, right? So now the question is, if you have a sales problem, is the offer clear? Is the problem urgent? Is the payoff compelling? Is the trust strong enough? If the sales process is the sales process effective? Is the follow-up strong enough? Is objection handling clear? Are you even making enough offers? Ooh, that last one. Are you even making enough offers? This is one of the biggest things that I see people get stuck at. So they come to, people come to me and they're not generating the revenue that they want, right? They're at 20,000, 40,000 a month, and they want to get to 100K a month and beyond. And they're like, I'm not getting enough sales. Well, if I look at their funnel backwards, I say, okay, let's look at your sales. If you're not getting enough sales, how many offers are you making, right? And then I find out that, well, they're not making enough offers, especially if I look at their numbers and I know what their conversion rates are. I'm like, well, you're not making enough offers. How can you ever hit 100K when your conversion is this much and you're only making this many offers? And that's why you're at 20 to 40K per month. It makes sense. So now, if you're not making enough offers, let's go up your funnel to your middle funnel to say, okay, do you have enough people to sell to? Then I find out, oh, they don't. They're not generating enough leads. They don't have enough people to sell to. If they're not having enough people to sell to, they can't make enough offers. If they don't make enough offers, they can't sell. Then I say, okay, why do they not have enough people to sell to? Then I go up top then of their funnel and I find out, oh, they're not creating enough content. They're not spending enough money on ads. They're not doing long form, short form blogging. They're not doing anything. They're not doing outreach to get enough traffic. If they don't have enough traffic, then they don't have enough people to sell to. If they don't have enough people to sell to, they're not making enough offers. And they're not making enough offers. That's why they're not generating the sales or the revenue that they actually run, right? This is the ordeal. A lot of people want sales without wanting to improve the process of conversion. That's your process of conversion that I just actually broke down to. They want people to say yes without understanding why people say no. Sales optimization often means strengthening the offer, the sales message, the sales call, the presentation, the follow-up, the proof, the objection handling, the conviction behind the ask. And this is very, very important. Not every business should optimize sales first. Only optimize sales first if awareness and leads are already working. If people are not seeing you, it is not a sales problem. If people are seeing you but not opting in, it is not a sales problem. If people are seeing you opting in and still not buying, now that is a sales problem. So after several dates with Phyllis, this is where the third pillar in the relationship journey is. The energy is right, the moment is right, everything was right, and guess what? I made my move. I leaned in to give her a kiss, and thank God she didn't slap me in the face. She actually kissed me back, right? So that's the first offer, and then After giving her a kiss, a few days after, I asked her to be my girlfriend, right? So I made her another offer, and she said yes to being my girlfriend, being in a relationship together. And after being with each other for 3 years, I asked her to marry me, and she said yes, right? And after being married for almost 10 years, I said, hey, I think it's time for us to be lovers for life. Let's have children and build a life together. Start buying properties and then really kind of planning the rest of our lives together. She also said yes, and that's where we now have our son Alexander. That was 12 years ago. I just turned 12, and then Alexander Troy followed right after that. Right. So this is the so I optimized. I didn't have a traffic problem anymore. I was in proximity with her. We were on the dating stage, so I didn't have to optimize for leads anymore. So I just had to optimize for sales in a relationship, right? So same kind of concept there. So let me ask you this. Um, for you, right? What do you think your business needs most right now? Needs awareness, leads, or sales? And if you're here live with us, or if you're watching this later as well, just drop in the comment section. Where's your bottleneck? Where's your hole? What is the gap that you actually need to close? Is it awareness? Is it leads, or is it sales? Okay, because here's the thing. Your business does not need everything improved at once. It needs the right thing improved next. Understanding this changes everything for you, because most entrepreneurs are so overwhelmed, not because business is too complicated. They're overwhelmed because they're trying to fix the wrong problem, or they're trying to fix way too many things as all at once. And you just got to figure out what's next, right? So go back into your business with a better question, not how do I do more, but where is the real bottleneck? Where's the real bottleneck? If the issue is awareness, then build visibility. Focus on visibility, optimize for visibility. If the issue is leads, improve conversion into contact, right? If the issue is sales, improve conversion into commitment, right? So that's what you actually have to optimize. So growth gets simpler when diagnosing gets clear. Again, growth in your business, the scale in your business gets simpler when diagnosis gets clearer. So, all right, let's really get practical here. After this live, or even during this live, your assignment is very, very simple, right? I want you to audit your business in these areas only. First one is awareness, right? Ask yourself, are enough of the right people seeing me consistently? Second is leads. Are enough of the right people raising their hand? And then third, are enough of the right people buying? Then ask yourself, where is my real bottleneck? Not the one I assumed, the real one, right? Not the one that you assume, the real one. Where is the real bottleneck? What evidence do you have to support what you believe is the bottleneck, right? The real one. Are you low on visibility, right? Ask yourself, are you low on opt-ins? Are you low on conversions? What must I optimize next? Not five things, one thing. What must I optimize next? And with this, you stop guessing, you start you stop reacting, and you really start leading your business with clarity. So my message, my friends, today is very, very simple. Not every business problem is a sales problem. Not Some businesses need more awareness, some need better lead generation, some need stronger sales conversion. The key is knowing the difference, because when you optimize the right stage, growth gets simpler. You stop spinning, you stop forcing, you stop fixing the wrong thing, and you start building with clarity. Awareness gets you seen, leads get people interested, you have enough people to sell to, and sales get people committed. That is the path. So stop asking how to do everything better. Start asking, what does my business actually need most right now? Again, what does my business actually need most right now? This is how you achieve your outcomes. So I want to know from this live, what was your biggest takeaway from today? Was it awareness? Was it leads? Was it sales? Right? Drop your biggest takeaways in the actual comments for me. And if this message spoke to you, I want you to also drop optimize in the comments. And if you know you need to stop guessing and start diagnosing the real bottleneck, drop clarity as well in the comment section. So next live, I should say, next live, we're going to build on this, because once you identify that your business needs leads. The next question becomes, how do you actually turn leads into money? How do you actually turn leads, contacts into cash, right? How do you generate the lead? How do you nurture the lead? And how do you convert the lead into an actual buyer? Because getting the lead is one thing, building trust with that lead is another, and turning that trust into cash flow is also another. So next live's title is how the rich build riches. They know how to turn leads into money. Again, how the rich build riches. They know how to turn leads into money, because the truth is, rich entrepreneurs do not just collect leads. They know how to move leads through the journey until those leads become revenue. So if today was about identifying the bottleneck, next live is about showing you how to fix it. Okay. Today was about identifying the bottleneck. Next live is about showing you how to actually fix it. You do not want to miss that. I'll be tuning in from, again, Fukuoka, Japan, next week, this next live. So we will see you then. Have an